Welcome back to Rope Coaching's YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at the men's semi-final route, and specifically the crux that saw so many elite athletes fall off. Was it climber error or was it route setter error? We're going to find out. We're also going to compare the less successful attempts versus the successful attempts and see what the difference was. So I hope you enjoy. If you do, please click like and subscribe for more content and give us some suggestions for more analysis videos. So this is the move that we're specifically talking about. As the athletes transfer into the black volumes of the red holds, they had to kick their toe out onto this small little foothold. Now they could either keep it low on this screw-on, or they could place it in a heel-toe cam. We're specifically going to be looking at that toe placement because it was that caused so many issues with slips, lack of pressure. But yeah, let's get into it. So the first athlete we're going to look at, and one that was a massive upset that didn't make finals, was Tomoa Narazaki. So we're going to have a look at him now. So this is the move, and specifically Tomoa. As he places the foot, it just slips off. So I think we need to look at the foot in more detail. And you can see that there's a little spike to it, specifically just in the middle of the hold. Meaning that we need to really apply pressure through that tip, going this way into the hold. So when we look at Tomoa's attempt, he places his foot too close to the left. So when he goes to fire off, he pulls through the toe, and you'll see now he'll pull down and the toe just slips straight off. So I think Tomoa specifically missed the sweet spot of the hold, but there are also other implications here. So when you see Tomoa set up, he places his right foot, yes, okay, he's missed the sweet spot, but he places his left foot as a smear. He brings it higher to apply more pressure, and then he pushes. But you can see that he doesn't, he fails to shift his center of gravity from left to right as effectively. Okay, he slipped, but I think he could have placed his left foot in a better position, as we'll see other athletes do. Next up is Dian and Sam. So he places his foot, he smears like Tomoa, but then he drops his knee subtly. So we'll look at that in slow-mo. So he places his foot, albeit hopping it. So you can never apply pressure to a hopping foot. So then he'll swing his left leg up to smear, like Tomoa, and then he goes to press. You'll see that his right knee subtly drops, and then he slips off. So a couple of things happen here, and I think we need to look at it in slightly more detail. So time to slow it down even more. And you'll see that when he places his toe and he's dropping his knee here, his right foot slips in the corner, but he's also trying to apply pressure as a drop knee, and a drop knee applies on opposing forces. Next up is Sam from France. So a couple of hops to begin with, smears, slips. Let's see what happens. So as Sam sets up, you will see these hops on the right foot, but before that, it's really interesting. He has his left foot against the white volume. So he uses that to hop to try and transfer the weight. And those hops is his body trying to get feedback. Where am I exactly on that hold? Do I feel secure? His left leg swings away, so that's going to bring more weight onto the hands. As he brings his left foot in, he's going to try and use that momentum of smearing and then rocking over to fire up to the next hold. But as he rocks over, his foot comes off the hold. So we're going to slow it down in a little bit more detail and have a look at it again. So his ankle flexion looks like around 90 degrees. As his knee goes in, it pulls off. It's the basic mechanic of his leg. He pulls his foot off the hold. So he wasn't applying pressure through the hold, but rather pulling through the toe again. Next victim was our good friend Jesse Grouper. So a couple of other points to make is he drops his body weight here. So one, he's taking his weight off the toe. So naturally the toe is going to be unweighted. Two, the left leg wasn't doing anything. So as he goes to rock over, his ankle flexion doesn't change and he slips off. Next up, Hannes van Duysen. You can see that he's insecure on the foot. He slips, he hops it, he's trying to get that feedback. His ankle flexion never changes, crucially. Left leg doesn't do anything, but he thrusts really well with his hip. As he drops his knee slightly differently this time, his right foot slips off. So, knee in, toe off. Next up, the mighty Sasha Lehmann. Starts off with a couple of insecurity hops. Left leg goes high onto the white volume. As he sags low, realizes it's not in a great position, so he pushes it on the inside. However, as he drops lower, his right knee turns closer to the wall to get his right hip closer to the wall. His left leg comes off, so it doesn't drive. As he rocks forwards, his knee hits the wall now. That's going to push down the leg, his heel low. That's going to bring his hips away from the wall. As he doesn't drive with his left leg, and then he starts pointing last second, his hips get pulled really far away from the wall, the crucial point as he's reaching up to the next hold. So again, it sees such a strong climber fall off this route. On to the athletes that did the climb, and we're specifically focusing on 3 athletes that use the same technique, keeping the toe low. So firstly, Alberto Hines Lopez, then Luca Podgor, and then Jakob Schubert. So you'll see slight discrepancies with all of their technique, but fundamentally the ankle flexion changes and there's more pressure applied through the toe. So if you keep the ankle flexion at the same angle, as the knee comes in, the mechanic of the leg is that the toe will be pulled off. However, if the ankle flexion changes from open to close, it means there's still going to be pressure going through the toe. You can see Luca's really effective use of his hips thrusting through. You'll see this in the videos, but also all of them do a really good job of making sure the knee doesn't hit the wall. Now, Jakob is the only one of the 3 that does do more of a drop knee, so it does try to bring his right hip closer to the wall, but he has the amount of pressure going through the toe that allows him to stick the move. Super interesting. 3 more videos to look at. So Alberto's up first. You see that he doesn't place his left foot, but he's got a lot of weight going through the right toe. You can see that his ankle flexion changes, as I just talked about, and his knee doesn't hit the wall. So as he rocks over and his center of gravity shifts from left to right, he hits the hold with confidence. Luca Podgor, very similar. He really thrusts with his hips. Ankle flexion changes, knee doesn't hit the wall. Successful attempt. How could I forget Alex Megos? He actually had the wider stance, creating enough drive that even though his knee was going into the wall, he could still apply pressure to the right toe. So very successful despite the knee going in. Interestingly, Paul Jempf does the same. The left leg drags, but he's got such a good rock over. His center of gravity keeps shifting, and most crucially, he's got great ankle flexion. So it allows for the forgiveness of that technique. Colin Duffy does a very similar thing. Doesn't really drive with the left leg. He's got so much power. He drops his right knee slightly, but you can see his ankle flexion change throughout the whole motion. So even though he hits his dead point a little bit early, his ankles are forgiving. So Jakob Schubert, one of our favorite athletes, and he uses kind of multiple techniques, but he's one of the only very few athletes to use the left volume. He hasn't got the best ankle flexion, but that doesn't matter because of the fact that Jakob creates opposing forces using this left foot. He also drops his right knee in, and that's a drop knee, and you rely on opposing forces pushing in both directions. So you'll see that as Jakob drops his weight, he's going to really thrust, pull dynamically. And as he drops his right knee, crucially, as his knee hits the wall, he's still pushing off the left leg, meaning there's still pressure going to the right toe. So he hits his dead point as he hits the hold perfectly. And finally, to the other techniques. Ondra was the only one to do this inside, heel hook, and he did the move with ease, casually shaking out through it. And everybody else did this toe hook. So relying on a right lever, straight right lever, a lock off with the left, and opposition with the left foot as well, pushing. It worked effectively, and it went on to see the most successful athlete, Toby Roberts, go on to win a gold medal in the same technique. Beautiful technique. Congratulations, and I hope you enjoyed this video.